What's up? I'm going to share this link now, and we'll see if anybody comes in. Oh, geez. I didn't realize I just put this up a couple minutes ago, and I thought that I was over on the Facebook group inviting, and I didn't honestly think anybody would show up, being that it's 11 o'clock on Halloween night. So some of you already jumped in. Appreciate that. I was actually just sitting here um, working on a new feature in the extension and trying to answer a couple of questions in the meantime. So I thought, as long as I'm sitting here for the next hour doing this stuff, if people had some questions, then I would try to hop on and do a little bit of something. So if you end up watching this on replay, you must have a life or you're sleeping, one of the two, because why wouldn't you be up at almost midnight wanting to talk about Amazon influencer stuff? So appreciate you guys jumping in. Happy Halloween indeed. We dressed up last weekend. Both of us, me and the wife, were Elvira. And yes, it was as uncomfortable to look at as it sounds. What's up, Clicks? What's up, Matthew? Hey, Home Decor, what's going on? Alex, what are you doing here so late? I know. No, it didn't crash. Well, to my knowledge, it has not crashed. No, I just had some time, and I'm always so appreciative of the group. I didn't post this in the main group. I only posted this link in the subscribers only group. I try to keep giving back whenever I got some time to do that. And sometimes just do like a quick unannounced thing and see if anybody's got questions. Or Matthew, are you a computer programmer or software developer by trade? No, I'm just a nerd when it comes down to it. I have always been I've always been pretty smart whenever it comes to computer stuff. And I've always also at the same time been like very sort of like bullheaded. Like if I think something's possible, then I can go like, I'm just going to work at it till I figure it out. So if you're asking like in relation to like the extension and stuff and how I built it, it wasn't by trade. It was, I know enough coding to be like dangerous. And then I can use like AI to kind of reinforce the stuff that I already know. And so, no, I'm just sometimes too dumb to know when to quit, maybe is what it boils down to. Alex, I appreciate that, man. It's trying to keep doing some stuff. I'm doing something really interesting right now. So there were two primary things that I at some point coming up, I got to stop releasing features for a couple of reasons. One is like I need to let the extension breathe for a little bit and then work on like efficiency type of stuff and like just trying to make it faster and better. It's hard to do that when you're continually releasing new things. But I had two primary things that I was wanting to release. One was the thing that I just released yesterday or the day before, where you can do the product research and message creator connections brands from Amazon. And that was a big one because that took a lot of time and a lot of testing. And I'm still testing. I'm hearing some stuff about people getting throttled a bit by it. And then some people are using it. I never got throttled once whenever I was testing it. So after these two things, I got one that I'm working on right now that's going to be probably my last big one. And I should have it out by Monday. I'm not an Amazon seller. No, the closest I ever got to Amazon selling was I once had done a KDP book, and actually it sold pretty good. And it was about a specific like workout routine thing, and the people that created the workout routine wrote and wanted it taken down, so it wasn't worth it for me. So that was the closest I ever got to the seller side. Matthew says, is there a way to save a list of products if I wanted to purchase items with that new Amazon search page feature? So just so I understand, Matthew, are you basically saying that like if you see that list, right? So it gives you the list of things that are on Creator Connections, you're wanting a way to easily, if you wanted to, add certain items from that list to a save for later type of situation. Is that right? Just to verify. If so, yes, that would be pretty easy to do. I'm actually uploading another video also right now too. Um, I'll talk to you guys a little bit about this because I appreciate you joining so much. Something interesting happened today. I made a video earlier about this. Curious, anybody here see your Creator Connections campaigns stall out? Has anybody here been affected by that at all? I'm curious. And if I get quiet for a moment, I realize that may not necessarily be exciting to watch. This probably isn't going to be a video where I'm doing a lot of interaction here because I'm in the middle of kind of like jumping around. So, but I am watching for questions coming in, and definitely I'm gonna be answering that. Okay, you say yeah, my Amazon Associates isn't my buying. Uh, yes, my Amazon Associates isn't my buying Amazon. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you want to save it, save it. Um, yeah, so I think that, well, here's the thing. You don't have to technically be logged in to your um what if you could just add it to your cart? Would that work? All right, well, you wait, that would be right because you're on the wrong account. Yeah, I could do that. I think what I can probably do is instead of doing like a CSV, I can actually still hold it within the extension, as like a safer, like you said, safer later type of thing. And then on the, whatever, if you have to like switch your account or something like that, you could just, but I would be curious if the extension though works on your other account because you don't technically, for the search feature, you wouldn't have to be logged in. I'm trying to think of what's there. I don't think that there's anything in there that would require you to be logged into your associate account. Um, Try that. Try to log in to your other account, the one that you do your buying, and see if the extension feature will work on those pages and see if it'll run. Because it's not using anything from the page. It's not like it needs that specific account. Everything is stored within the extension. So try that first. If that doesn't work, if it doesn't run, let me know and I can come up with a solution. Uh, Alex said, are you using other ways to drive traffic for offsite? Aside from YouTube, well, I mean, I've got a fitness blog. That was actually kind of where I started my online journey at. Blogging is so much harder than I don't do any social. If that's the main crux of your question, I don't do anything social as far as like Facebook groups that I'm sending to Amazon. The only other thing I had was my blog, and it was really successful back in like 2022 and 2023. And I still post on it a little bit, and I still get sales from it. I just don't post on it very much because there's other stuff going on. But that's the only thing is that. Um, I like the line of questioning here though, because I do continue to try to kind of push to like how important diversification is whenever it comes to, where you're putting your eggs in into which baskets. Social is probably the easy answer here. That's probably the lowest hanging egg in that particular case, but it's just not something that I have. Well, I've tried with TikTok. I guess that's not technically pushing off site because that's TikTok shop. Um, no, I mean, the only other places would be Facebook for me or my Instagram. And to be honest, I don't do anything personal on Facebook. The only account I have is for Oink stuff. On Instagram, I just don't use it enough, and this doesn't feel right to me. I don't think people are there for that. And I realize there's probably some people that are probably winning at that. It's just not my bag. So for me, it's YouTube number one. And I do have a couple of different accounts on YouTube, which also helps, right? So I've got my fitness channel, which is my main driver. And then I have a review channel for regular sort of stuff, which I don't hardly pay attention to. And I'm backlogged because I told somebody today it's like my highest priority to complete and my lowest priority on actually getting it done. So I have two other channels. I got the regular review channel, and then I got a review channel for adult products only. So I don't mix and match those. It's hard. It's hard whenever stuff starts going really well in one place. Like so for AIP, it's hard to sometimes justify, even though it's easily justified. Sometimes it's hard to make that pivot. I should stop spending time on this thing that's doing really well and go over to work on this other thing that's not making me any money right now. So it's kind of it's a bit of a two double-edged sword. Storm says, "Want to say you're super real. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I think that I'm probably looking at an increase in price. I think probably I'm probably going to announce it within the next week for two reasons. One is the implementation of the new fee. And by the way, once you're in, you're grandfathered in. Your price never goes up. So this would only be for people that come in after the price thing comes out. Um, One is I didn't realize how discounted the yearly rate was. Somebody pointed it out one day, and they're like basically getting like 5 months free out of the year. I didn't realize that at the time. I just thought the number sounded good, so I'm for sure gonna raise the yearly up a little bit. I'm still debating on the monthly, but if I do the monthly thing, it'll be like another $10. It will be. I'm not jumping it up to like $90 or $100 or anything crazy like that. The new features that I've been releasing, what I've realized is that now that it does like market research on the Amazon side, um, what's required of me in order to keep that stuff going is like it expanded. So I'm trying to weigh out. To be honest, I sometimes walk this line between trying to keep. I want to continue to make things. I don't want to charge people things that they're not making more money from the thing that I'm charging for. So I'm kind of trying to balance a few different things out with that. But I appreciate those kind words. Thank you very much. Um, it says, can you share a wish list between the accounts? That is what it do. Am I reading that right? That is what it do. I did read it right because my wife has a different account. Um, so Clover? Are you talking about? I think this might be kind of similar to what we were talking about a second ago up above was being able to where would you want to add stuff from the wish list? Let me ask you that. So when you say a wish list, are you just saying like any product on Amazon or what would you want to add in that wish list? Because yes, I can certainly do that. I'd want to know what the source would need to what would be. I guess if I check a bunch of boxes in that display versus saving one by one. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, that would make sense. How do you organize who sends what and when it's done? If you accept it and upload it. I use notes on my iPhone. Have you tried the collaboration tracker um in the extension? It's accessible in two different places. So like on your storefront, up under other actions, if you go under that, it's there, the collaboration tracker is there. So here's how I use it because what you're talking about there, it's a pain in the ass because like you start accepting stuff and then stuff starts showing up at your house and you're like, who in the hell sent this thing to me? And then you're tracking back through your email and your messages and usually you find it, but sometimes it's hard. But with the collaboration tracker, whenever somebody offers me a product and I look it up on Amazon to see if I'm interested and I got the product page up, um, you can click the star next to the collaboration tracker and it'll allow you to add it basically to that list of products that you it's either for tracking, you could use it kind of for just saving products, but I use it for it's collaboration tracker. So I use it for things people are going to send me. You can do the same thing over on Creator Connections is if there is a product, especially in the chatting box down below, um, if somebody wants to send you a product, your messaging should be formatting with a little plus sign in front of it down there in the chat box. Now, if you press that plus sign, then you can also add that product to the collaboration tracker. That's how I use it. That's why I put it in there that's why I envisioned people using it was for that exact case of people sending you stuff. Check that out if you haven't already and let me know what you think. What is your long-term oh man. Um, I appreciate that question, Alex. I'm shocked that I'm even at this point right now, man. I didn't know. I mean, you know what I mean, when I started Oink, it was really just something to help drive traffic to my Facebook and my YouTube to help those things grow. It was 2 basic features, I mean, and actually they're still in there that, I told people that they could have those features for free, if they follow my accounts. And then whenever, I lost my job and I decided I needed to try to do something with it, I was getting a lot of requests for improvements and things. I just couldn't afford to spend time on it anymore because I had lost my job, and that's why I ended up monetizing it. And so it grew so fast that it was not expected from the beginning of this. So, I don't really have any plans, man. I this, I come from the world. My job I was at was a startup, so I'm very familiar with, like, the idea of getting bought and all that kind of stuff. I don't, to be honest, I don't think about it because it seems so foreign to me right now. I mean, if Bezos comes on, if Jefferson Bezos shows up and gives me a holler and says, "Hey, Fizz, we're really liking that thing. We like that. Let's go." I mean, sorry, everybody. Uh, Oink may. I mean, long story to say, I don't know, man. My only goal right now is to keep getting more, to try to create something that gets more reports of people that are making more money. That's the only thing I'm trying to kind of do, and from there, I think the pieces will fall where they may. But I don't have. And to be honest, whenever I started doing this, even whenever I monetized it, I did not even consider, like, the thought of it ever being sold. More people say it to me than I ever think about it, like, bring it up in conversation about that potential, like, it's just not even hardly on my purview. Um, let's see here. Is AMZ, your main source of income, or do you have a 9 to 5? Well, I think I might have just answered that question. Whenever I started it, um around April is right whenever I was getting let go of my job, whenever I found out that that was coming to an end. And but before that, one of the good things was I was making enough in the program at that point to replace my salary, right? Which was a godsend. Like, I mean, I worked my butt off for a couple years and got myself in that position that if my job went away, that I had something to replace it, and it did. But you still lose a salary, and it's a pretty massive impact to um, your life, right? And so this is, I mean, Oink now and this, I spend more time with Oink, way more time with Oink. And in fact, my video production has gone to the crapper because I just don't have time to do stuff. Because on one hand, I'm like working on it, whether it's a feature or a bug or whatever the case is. But two, trying to make sure to stay engaged, like stuff like this. Um, this is my regular job, but it is, I mean, there's multiple nights this past week that, and I'm not trying to ask for any sort of sympathy, but up till 4 in the morning, and then would be up usually, like around 8 or 9. It's just what it is, just a grind. And like I said, I come from the world of startups, so I don't mind that. But it's a full time. I did get a job offer eventually after that one, and at that point, this thing had taken off and was taking up so much time. There was no way to take on a salary job again and be able to do this at the same time. Do do do. Oh, I see it, Clover. You're replaying to that person. Okay. Snowstorm says no problem paying. Um, Deal. I'll send you an invoice. Um, Let me see. I gotta switch my monitor, man. I am struggling between being an old guy and uh oh, is that Ellie? Is that what that says? I'm trying to see. Oh, so is Australia in my plan? You're the second person to ask me that today. So here's the thing. It wasn't like, I don't know if that's a fair thing to say. It wasn't my but because here's the thing, I really kind of wanted to see how the Canada and UK things panned out, And to be honest, even though people are making a little bit of money at it, they're not making very much money. Uh, and I think people are surprised by that a little bit. And so Australia is like another tier behind that. There was somebody from Australia not that long ago that was like, "Hey, I'm down here in Australia. It's not that great." So I'm, and here's the other thing: I'm not signed up currently for Australia. I know that they just opened up like the carousels there, and so I think that's what has spurred the conversation. But to be honest, you asking this after somebody else asked me this earlier today, I'll probably take a look at it this weekend. That's what I told that other person is I'll take a look at the implementation of it and see how easy it is. If I don't have to apply to it, and I can get it up and running, then I'll probably do it. But that might be hard for me to test if I'm not applied to it. So I don't know quite yet. That's my answer, but it is on my radar. That's probably best I can say for it right now. Matthew, I think I applied to merch by Amazon a while back and I didn't get accepted. So thank you for opening that wound, and I will cry immediately after the after this. I mean, I was interested in it because I thought that it would be fun to do, and I thought that I'd be good at it. T-shirt stuff specifically, I've always kind of thought like I had some really good ideas, but didn't work out, which I didn't lose too much sleep over it because I didn't quite understand what it was anyways, and wasn't losing anything there. Um, you should every Neil lesson. He created merch informer and book bait. I'll put that name on my list. I'm highlighting it here. Actually, I'm put it down here so I can look it up later. LESSE. All right, appreciate that. I love Book Bowl. Do you think total video count would ever be possible, similar to viral view? So this is a tough one for me. And I saw Fluencer Fruit, they got it now too. Here's the thing with the total video count, right? Even before I had Oink, I had been preaching for a long time that I don't participate with products that have 5 videos in the upper carousel. For me, that's where most of the value ended. And a lot of that's because there are so many products out there that have less than 5 influencer videos on it that I didn't feel like, as much as I think that's a unique and entertaining metric, for my particular strategy and the thing that I think moves the needle most, which is the way that I built the extension, um, I I have not necessarily considered it that much because I almost want to kind of keep pushing people towards products with less. I understand that it makes life easier if you feel like you can accept more products because maybe now there's only 15 videos on it in total or whatever. Maybe that gives you more opportunity. But I think that I struggle with that my methodology has always sort of revolved around like, go for the like, why do you want to participate on a product that doesn't have a place for you quite yet? And I say that I very much understand the flip side of that, which is like, well, if it's selling 50,000 units a month and only has 9 total videos on it, which not very common, but just as an example, then there's some value there. So I struggle, I think, probably with that particular part of it, just from a strategy standpoint. Um, it's also much harder, I think, to put those numbers together than people maybe realize. Amazon doesn't have a single place like a data point for that. Like there's a lot of other stuff where you can make an API call to Amazon and get a piece of information, but my understanding is that those numbers are created by scanning a bunch of storefronts, maybe, or scanning products and then counting the influencer videos. It's like an ongoing count that basically is always running to some degree, right? And so it also then relies on scanning as much stuff as it possibly can. I think this is how it works. I'm not 100% sure. This is just what I've gathered. And trying to scan a bunch of stuff to see how many videos you can find for a particular product. And so I don't know. It's I agree with the fact that it is an interesting metric. It's just one, implementing the process to be able to do that is very, very heavy. And I commend those people for doing it. Those other companies that have pulled that off, I certainly commend them for doing it. It's just hard for me because my strategy from day one of my channel has always been to avoid products with 5 videos on them because they already don't have a place for you. And if you do happen to get placement, then the likelihood of you getting booted out for somebody else while they continue to move things in and out is probably likely higher. So I don't have any plans for it quite yet. But I'm also trying to listen to the community, right? And my strategy doesn't always have to be everybody else's strategy. So I'm juggling parts of that maybe a little bit. But I don't have any plans currently. Long answer. I currently don't have any plans to implement that. Did you guys get your on-site payment for yesterday? I'm still missing. I haven't looked. And by the way, Matthew, to that answer, I could be wrong, and it might be necessary. You know what I mean? I could just be missing it. I might be getting in my own way of something like that. Um, it's just it's hard because I had internalized the strategy that I sort of created with Oink around sort of the metrics that I saw moving the needle the most. And so I'm just trying to weigh some of those things out. But I'm certainly open to the community's voice in this. And I'm not always right and certainly don't always have to be right. So does Oink allow me to search for products in a similar way to Jungle Scout? I wish I could look up estimated sales volume. No, I don't. I don't do any of that. And this, um, here's the thing, your fitness. This also goes back to kind of what I was saying a second ago about the total influencer video count, which is for me, and see in the influencer program, one of the things I've become very aware of, especially over like a lot of conversations with now quite a lot of people, is that people tend to get distracted by and I don't mean that in a negative way, because Amazon says at the end of the day, in order to make, if you're talking about on-site videos, that there's two rules that they need from you in order to make money in the program, right? And the two rules, and you guys probably sick of me saying this, is one, rule number one is the product has to be selling. And Amazon shows us that most of the time on the product pages, right? How many it's selling per month, et cetera. So we have to participate in products that are actually selling. The second thing is your video has to be seen. So it has to be selling and somebody's got to see your video. And based off of those two things alone, if those two pieces of criteria are met, then you have an opportunity to make money. And things to me, again, I'm open to the conversation and being wrong, but to me, whenever I start then paying attention to additional things from an on-site shoppable video perspective, I start paying at things to gross revenue, to review count or star rating numbers or any other rankings in a category or anything like that. I used to track a lot of this stuff. And at some point, what I realized was I started ignoring it. Even though it was there for me to look at, I just started ignoring it. And I kept honing it back into the two metrics that Amazon said mattered. Is it selling and will my video get seen? And that's the stuff that started to move the needle for me. So I say all of that to say, I understand the request and I understand that there is value in the thing that you're asking for there for like the revenue. And there might be something that I am missing here with how this would actually add value, despite the fact that Amazon says that's really just those other two things that matter. So right now, no, I don't have anything else to add in as far as like revenue or anything like that. Because for me, coming from Jungle Scout gives a lot of different information because obviously it's applicable to a lot of different industries and things like that. But when I'm talking within the extension and trying to make sure to do my best to sort of steer people in the direction that I think is going to be the most direct line between them and more money, I'm trying to keep it as focused as possible. And for me, staying as close to that what Amazon is saying of like just follow these two rules and you'll make money. I try to kind of tune everything else out that's out there. So but open to the conversation though, certainly. Um well, I appreciate that, Matthew. So I'll give you guys kind of this a heads up on this that I was getting ready to talk about. I'm gonna have to make a video about this probably this weekend. So I don't. Some of you, I don't know if anybody said, did any of you are any of you here dealing with the issue of Amazon and creator connections? Your your campaign's not going up. You're stuck at like 390. You might have went up a little bit today. And so here's what's going on. Again, I appreciate you guys joining. I shared the link, to people within the group. I didn't share this link on anywhere else. Um, and so I think that something interesting has happened over the last week or week and a half with Creator Connections. That if it's panning out the way that I think, by it, okay, you're up slightly today. And that's what I thought. So at first, I thought that this was a bug, and I posted about it being a bug in the group, and then a couple of conversations later, I realized that what you were s the reason that your numbers weren't going up is that every campaign that almost every single one that has been created over the last, like, week and a half since the Amazon outage, almost every single one is coming out as a, early access campaign. And the only people that can see early access campaigns are gold and platinum creators. It was one of the perks originally of the Creator Star program. but it was like they'd give you like a 2-day heads up. It was nothing. Like it was so minimal that I didn't pay attention to it. And so when somebody mentioned that they thought it might be related to the early access thing, I went and I looked at it and I typed in, or I sorted by early access, and I realized that the number of early access campaigns was the exact number that everybody else was missing. And then somebody mentioned something about being bronze, and I started to put that together. So I put a video out about this earlier today. And so this is very interesting though, because then I had another conversation after this that pointed out something pretty radical that I think might actually be correct. I don't know yet because Amazon hasn't announced this, but I think that there's a chance that Amazon is starting to lean towards um, that they're starting to lean towards a thing where they are wanting their top creators, and in this case, this would be their gold and their platinum, to have the majority of access to creator connections. Because if you think about this from a brand standpoint, right? A brand is going to be participating with influencers, right, across the board. Why wouldn't they want the people that are converting the most? And because their money's on the line, right? Creator connections, the brands are the ones that are paying out now. And so for them, it is in their best interest to only be presented with the quote unquote best influencers. And this, of course, is currently being based off of sales numbers. And if this is what's happening, I think what we're seeing right now is that Amazon is buffering the early access time because one, if people are going to ask for free collaboration samples, I should say, within that first week, brands know these are coming from people that have sales numbers behind them, right? And so if you're a brand and you release a campaign today, if somebody messages you tomorrow, you don't have to worry about their sales numbers. They're already in the tier that Amazon says, whatever it is. So one, that's beneficial to brands. And they also don't have to worry as much about sending products out and not getting a video made, which I guarantee is happening a ton right now because anybody can request a product. So you don't have to worry about that as much. But I think that if you go down that pathway and you go, well, this allows then brands, because their money is on the line, to be placed with, I don't want to say better influencers, but more established, which might be seen as better by the brands, then they might not ever want to work with less than that. And this is starting to get into conspiracy theory a little bit. I think right now, this is exactly what we're seeing is that they're being given more time with the platinum and gold up front, which means that sample opportunity is going to get prioritized to the higher earnings people. And frankly, this is going to negatively impact the other people's gold or silver and bronze. It's going to negatively impact your ability to get promotional products until you can get up in those tiers. But if you look down the road at what that trajectory then kind of looks like, is if they're doing this for the brand's benefit, I could see them going even further with it. And I'm gonna make a video about this once I get my thoughts better. But I think that this was a legit move by them, and I think it's good in a lot of ways. I mean, if you're a brand, this is good to give the top earning creators priority. In getting your collaboration samples, and even for accepting the campaigns. Because now what's going to happen is people are going to start accepting campaigns. They're going to get filled up before the other people can even get into it, all through the early access. I saw several of those today in early access that got filled up, and that was happening a bit already. But I don't know. This whole thing is very, very interesting. Curious anybody's thoughts here. If you have any, if not, no worries. Just want to talk about it here a little bit as I'm still kind of gathering my thoughts on how I want this video to go. But we'll kind of see. Your Fitness does Oink allow me to search for? Oh, you already did that one. The only reason I use viral views, it shows revenue, but I wish I could search all home and just go. Yeah, and I think that it's hard. Doing these extension things, you're so reliant on what Amazon gives you access to, or you can see. And ultimately, if Amazon would fix a lot of the reporting from their side, a lot of this would be a lot easier to do. But their constraints on what we have access to is difficult. Clover's years are going up. Yeah, mine too. And that was my concern. When people started saying that they were stuck at like 390, I'm like, I'm like, "You're out like 40,000 campaigns." Like, something's obviously gotta be wrong. But then that's a crazy number then because that means that 40,000 campaigns since the outage have been released to only the early access people, and nobody else has access to it. And I think that, what that's gonna also do is that's also going to help the brands not get so overwhelmed with messaging. So if you think about it, if a campaign was coming out and had 2 days of early access, that's not much, and then everybody else had access to it, then they were getting slammed by brand messaging and stuff like that because everybody's now in the pool. But if you just do it by early access only, there's a lot of people in early access that don't do any brand messaging at all. So I would bet that this also alleviated some of that pressure, would be my guess from that. And you know what? To your point, Clover, you're right. The number's going up like crazy. And I made a prediction. Maybe this was like a couple weeks ago. I said, I bet we're at 500,000 by Q2. And now, like 3 weeks later or whatever, I think we're at 500,000 maybe by the end of January. Like it's going so sneaking fast. But that also then kind of gives me a little bit of reason why I'm starting to look at this pathway that they're on with this early access thing is like, this is, I feel like they're putting their eggs in this. Amazon's putting their eggs in this basket, and they need to make this good for the brand side of this too. And this all just kind of feels like it's moving into that direction where gold and platinum are going to have this sort of access to those brands through that. And look, there's enough of us in there that they're happy. They don't technically need the bronze and silver at that point. So I could see them continuing to prioritize those levels heavy, and unfortunately leaving a lot of those other people sort of as whatever crumbs are left over as an incentive to try to build those things up. I mean, maybe not, but it's an interesting path. And if this move is something they stick with, it's probably just going to be the beginning of an evolution. So we'll see what happens. Uh, could add a product finder that shows how much is selling and how much influencer video. Um, I'm not exactly sure I understand what you're saying there, Storm. If you could could add a product finder that shows how much is selling and how much. Explain that for me, would you? Becca said, I feel like those of us that are battling silver status or less, Amazon is working hard to keep us there. Yeah, my commissions are so low lately, and I was pulling up yeah, I mean, that's the kind of hit it's gonna take is gonna do, right? It's gonna um I mean, here's the thing. Well, right now you guys are totally getting boned because you're not getting access to any new campaigns, or very minimal. I did see that there's a bunch of them I think that roll out maybe on the 1st, and then a bunch of them maybe on the 4th. But like the ones I saw today, I think most of them rolled out maybe on the 7th. So you're looking at like at least a week before the new ones from today get released. And so right now, what's happening, especially if you're doing your creator connections cross checks, is you're probably not getting much of anything at all because there's no new campaigns rolling out. You're probably getting some stuff through the daily sales fetch because that always has new and rotating ASINs on that daily sales list. But if you're talking about matches to your storefront, you're probably not getting any any new matches, or very little at this point, which is obviously having an impact on that. You'll get these campaigns. You're just now going to be basically 2 weeks behind, is what it's starting to kind of look like if they continue on the thing that they're currently doing right now. But yeah, I could definitely see how it would feel like that they're trying to like. I mean, they're definitely making it. See, when they put out Creator Stars, it was like this big hype thing, and there wasn't much value in it, to be honest, at that point. In fact, we were kind of looking at it like, man, we really thought it was going to be better than it was. We were hoping there was another tier, and there just wasn't. It ended at platinum, and we are like, all right, like a lot of it wasn't even applicable. And so I think what they're doing is they're looking now, and maybe they had this all along, this plan all along. I don't know, but now it seems like what they're doing is they're trying. Like the Deals Hub is a really good example, right? Where they gave gold and platinum access to Deals Hub, which, to be honest, it stinks for everybody else because that's how you would get those numbers up. It's through those types of things, and in a weird way, it's almost like they're rewarding the people that are of these tiers because they're trying to make this creator star system work, or tier. And but you're right, it's almost then seeming like it's a punishment in some way to everybody else. It's definitely an incentive, right, to continue to, because here's the deal, it puts more pressure for you guys on doing the basics in the program and more of those, creating more content, right, and building that foundation to get up to those levels where then you can really take advantage of those things. So I think there is, in a strange way, sort of like a silver lining to it for you guys, which is that you don't have all the bells and whistles that are currently being handed to the gold and the platinum, but it also sort of helps you refocus on the thing of just like, I need to find more products and make more videos and make, like, regardless of what else is going on, regardless of Deal Hub, or regardless of Black Friday, regardless whatever, this is the formula that causes success in the long run, which it's true. That is actually factually accurate. That long-term success is about the basics, but it's making it, I think, harder to get there because you don't get those bells and whistles. So it's a unique spot. And look, it's Amazon. They might just undo all this, but in another couple weeks ago, that whole thing, we were just kidding around. And so, but they haven't announced anything. That's also kind of the thing here. Let's see here. Matthew, it seems I don't get as many replies. Well, that's an interesting thing. I got a video coming for as well, because the system is overwhelmed. I've had a couple of conversations with people that did this at a pretty high level. And both of them this week voluntarily happened to mention that they're not doing it as much. And one of them I reached out to, and I was like, hey, like, this was like one of like your cornerstones. What's up? And it was for this exact same thing that you're talking about. One, they said that it's harder to get replies, that their response rate has decreased. Two, they're concerned about those companies, those brands sending out so many products that they basically end up being oversaturated from the get-go. Like, they're giving out too many products, too many samples to too many people, and like all of a sudden now you've requested a product that 20 other people might end up having, which it loses the majority of its value at that point. So I have seen the same thing with the response rate drop. I have heard the same thing, and because of that and the oversaturation in this, I think that some people are starting to abandon the system and start going back to some of the other things that got them up to the point that they're on, as far as in the program. So I think it's a really interesting conversation. It's one of those things where you almost want to take advantage of it because it's beneficial, but maybe at the same time that the more people that take advantage of it, it actually decreases the value of the program. So there, there's a few things that I think that you can do in order to make sure to try to get the best response possible. One of the things I've kind of always harped on is there's a lot of people doing like a copy paste situation, that it's a generic message going out to the brand that's like, hey, you got stuff that I would like, can I have it? Like, and ultimately these brands have options, that we are one of many that are going to message them. And so if they open up your message, you've almost got to lead with some sort of value proposition right off the front. You got to let them know like why they should even pay attention to your thing. So you know, I I'm a big fan of like saying hi to the brand name, like whatever the brand name is, and right off the bat, just saying something about yourself that is the reason why you think that they should pick you to do this. Like, hey, my name is Fizz. I got a YouTube channel with over 13,000 subscribers. I'm a platinum tier. I get really kind of whatever, and I'd love to make some content for your whatever, and whatever your promotional thing is, whatever you can put together, even if you got to have Chat GPT help you out because you don't have much to work off of. Tell Chat, be like, hey, I need to make myself sound good here, and I think you got to lead off with some sort of value proposition. I think the the way that it's spread about the collaboration samples and things that were getting sent out brought so many people in so fast that it almost changed the game within a very short matter of time on how to approach this. And this also maybe goes back to what we were saying a second ago about maybe letting less people have access to those brands early. They're going to get less messages. That's just what it's going to be, because there's a lot of people now. A lot of times the people that are newer in the program are sometimes hungrier and more willing to hit those messages hard to try to get something moving for them. And if they can't do that anymore, it's less. I mean, granted, it stinks for the person that's trying to work their butt off and get those samples, but it's beneficial to the brands that don't want those messages from people that they might not necessarily want to work with because they're new and unproven and they're overwhelmed with messages. So the whole thing is very, very fascinating for sure. Clover says, over the years with influencing market in general, 8 out of 10 end up doing nothing. 8 of 10 doing nothing seems to be pretty standard. Amazon could be different, but my guess is it is high. Marketing, 8 out of 10 end up doing nothing to be pretty standard. It seemed to be pretty standard. I might have missed. Sorry, Clover. I think that I might have missed what that was in relation to. Sorry, I think I'm slower tonight than I normally am with reading through my stuff. And I've actually lost my place too. Hey, I appreciate you guys jumping in. This was actually going to kind of be I didn't know if anybody was going to come in because it was last minute and it was Halloween and I was just doing some work and I thought if people had questions that I'd hop on. So again, I appreciate you guys hopping on and oh, you're saying just way too many get into this for the free. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The free stuff is if you. I mean, you know this too, Clover. You've been around long enough that free stuff, if it ain't making you money, then it's probably costing you money, right? It's and a lot of the stuff it ain't going to make you any money, and that's just the way that it is with this. Um, I think that one of the things about the program that's been really interesting is watching how these different pieces like this evolve and watching how people are quick to take to these things sometimes out of optimism, right? Not necessarily because something's been vetted or something has any sort of data behind it. And I think actually like the parent ASIN is probably like a really good example of this, of something that frankly people are still, I made a video about it yesterday because I'm seeing so many conversations about it. And I think the brand messaging and the free sample thing is also one of these things. People took to things so quickly because we saw a result happening from it without even really knowing what the result of that result was going to be. We saw the products coming in, but those of us that have been around for a while and have worked with the quote unquote free products in the past, we know how, unless you're careful with them, that a lot of them aren't going to convert. And the more stuff people were getting in their on their front porch, the more they talked about it, and the more people kind of got into it. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot. I got stuff out in my garage right now that I mean I vet everything that I request. I make sure that it's selling. I go through the whole process just like I would anything else. It is a valuable opportunity if it's approached correctly. But I think sometimes people, mm, and Clover, I think you could probably identify with this too, or would probably agree with this that people are mistaking the concept of something coming in free that this is my pathway to making money and it didn't cost me anything. And it's true, it didn't cost you any money out of your pocket, but that's not probably going to be the pathway to making money. But it seems like that whole area kind of gets muddied there. Um, Airfit says, I found the best way is to go after $100 items with less than 20 influencers with high sales volume. So, I mean, look, everybody, I think, and I said this on a few of my videos, and every time I say it, it kind of grosses me out because I don't know where the phrase came from. But my dad always said there's a bunch of different ways to skin a cat. My dad said he ate a cat one time. I hope those two things aren't related. I hope he wasn't the one that came up with that saying. But it was always sort of like this idea of, there's a lot of different ways that somebody can win, but with doing some stuff. For me, typically what I do is if it's a creator connection campaign, if it's selling and I can get it as a sample, I almost just always take it as long as it's selling. I don't pay a lot of attention to the price or anything like that. Um, if I'm going to purchase it for like investment purposes, I'm way more strict on that kind of thing. Um, and if it's not working at some point for me, if I feel like the tides change and also should be the same for you guys. If you're doing something and it seems like on paper it should work and it just doesn't, then you can always make an adjustment, right? You can always kind of move some pieces around and use what you learned and put it into your next thing, the next version of whatever it is, to try to move that needle. Do you find that strange that Amazon never formally says they have Amazon Lives or Amazon review videos? Seems was never publicly announced. Seems strange, never formally says they have Amazon Lives. Well, I'll tell you what, I did my first live a couple weeks ago. I will say that. It was fun. I kind of want to do another one. I made $5. Don't get jealous. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't spent it yet. I might not. It was really interesting, like going through the setup process and all that. It seemed like once I had participated in it, I felt like from an influencer standpoint, anyways, I feel like I saw more stuff related to it. But I also know that those programs, the live program, anyways, lost a lot of steam over the last couple of years because people were doing them and feeling like they're putting a lot of time and effort into it, not making a lot of money. But you're right, Amazon doesn't seem to promote these things very often. Um, and maybe it's because they don't need to. I mean, from their standpoint, I believe if Amazon thought something could make them more money, that they would do it. And be honest, they got so much of the internet traffic right now, such a high percentage of the foot traffic for people shopping. Maybe they feel like they don't have to promote something somewhere else. People are going to come here and find it anyways. So I have to believe that if they thought it would be beneficial to them, that they would be doing it more often. They do that with stuff like the Amazon influencer program, right? They'll promote that. Like right now, if I go on TikTok, I'll get a thing that says you're invited to the Amazon influencer program. So they do promote stuff, but you're right, they don't promote individual specific, seemingly like video based content. Clover said, I don't get how people can get into platinum. I ain't made a video since early this month and still hit platinum. Yeah, you got a pretty good backlog though, right? That's part of it. Is I think you got a pretty fat number of videos sitting there too, which certainly helps. Even whenever you take a break, it's going to help carry you over. But I think that actually speaks more to probably the tier situation is low, right? Where, somebody could come in, frankly, somebody can come in and make a couple hundred videos and not make very much money, right? Because the metrics are bad on it. It's not selling enough units or whatever it is. So it's not for lack of effort. It's just their their process is off. But you've been around for a while. You've been able to identify good products that seem to have some like longevity. And I think even though maybe a lot of them were shot a while back, that longevity can outperform somebody that's new to the program and they don't know how to pick the products yet, and that'd be my guess, at least why some aren't quite doing it. Newer people to the program, right? What does platinum require? Oh, he'll have to, I don't remember what it is offhand. Yeah, they need to put the ones doing the word first for sure. He says, I don't recall. Yeah, I don't recall. I didn't recall what it was quite either. 1K in shipped revenue. Yeah, I think anyways, that isn't much. Why don't we? It's 1K for platinum? Then I was way off. I have to, do you have any thoughts on views? With on-site, it caps me at like 200 every day. Yeah, I do have I'm nearing 1,000 videos. Doesn't add up. So, I mean, yes. So a lot of people will say that Amazon throttles them, and that's why you see it just sort of capping out and seeming like you're bumping, right at some point, hitting a certain level. The problem with that methodology is that there are a lot of people that does not happen to, right? And so, if throttling was a real thing, you'd think you'd see it more commonly across the board for everybody. Um, so if throttling is a real thing and it's not happening to everybody, then there's a reason that they are throttling you, and it would have to do with something because you're not making them as much money as they'd like. They want other people's videos to be seen more than your videos, but I don't think that's it. I actually think it has more to do with, the videos that you have made in the past. You have to continue to make more videos at a pretty decent clip because those videos that you made in the past and those carousels are getting filled up faster the more and more people that come in, right? So what happens is whatever commissions you were making as more people get on those carousels, those numbers, your views, your visibility, your commissions start to slowly go down. But at the same time, if you're continuing to upload videos at a certain pace, what starts to happen is it starts to kind of turn into a balancing act. And that's why I think at some point, a lot of people end up seeing their numbers get very consistent because it's at the same time that something's being sucked down, you're also still trying to push it up by continuing to upload some of these things. So I've always been more of a believer that that's more of a reason why people get into a consistent level. It's because they're getting drained at the same time and their upload velocity is really kind of the same too. Right. And so that's my theory with that. And upload velocity, when I say that, it means not just how much you're uploading, but also the quality of the videos that you're uploading. So, for example, if you upload a video that has no other influencer videos in the upper carousel, then you're going to have visibility on that video for longer because there's nobody else there yet. But if influencer videos on it already and you show up and make 5, it's not going to be that long until you're probably bumped off that carousel, right? So your visibility opportunity is shorter in that particular case, which means you got sucked down way faster than you would have if you had started out with 0 influencer videos on there to start. So that's been kind of my theory on why that has happened. But people will certainly debate and argue with me on that, on the throttling thing, and I got no problem with that. But that's my theory based off of just kind of what I've seen. On clicks, yeah. Vanessa, anything to go after higher priced items that and yeah, like I said, I think it's whatever works, right? There's so many different cool pathways. That's one of the I actually made a video about this last week. Is there's so many cool pathways to do different things and to succeed with this, and that's what I think. It makes it fun because it also makes it for any of us. We can also pivot very quickly if we want to change and do something a little bit different and still continue to win in some way. I know people like yourself that go after higher priced items. You got the name fitness formulas. I don't know if you're doing fitness and exercise equipment, but I got like 5 or 6 boxes out in my garage right now of fitness equipment out there, and I love doing that stuff, not just because of the fitness aspect of it, but of the price point stuff. Um, and I know some people that I made my first $2,000 in 1 month with a $10 item and like a $100 item combined in 1 month in the program because they both popped. Actually, the $10 item went crazy. And you can make a lot of money with the right product that has the right metrics on it. And you can make a lot of money at high price stuff and low price stuff. So it's kind of a little bit of like whatever floats your boat, right? Whatever helps you get the goals whatever problem you're trying to solve, if those things help you solve it, then it's all good. Okay. Thank you, Clover, for the clarification. 100,000 per quarter for a dollar. Yeah. Yeah. The $1,000 one for a second. I was like, hold on a minute. If that's correct, then something is way off. Very good. Um, I can't wait till we get that Amazon Christmas toys guide in the mail. Gonna try and review a ton. What'd be sick is if they released it early to the to the program. I know they won't, uh, but man, wouldn't that be sweet if, like, we had that heads up on now, having said that, one thing to probably keep in mind is that stuff is in the deals hub list already. Now, if you don't have access to it, that doesn't help you very much, but for those people that are, gold, platinum creators, you don't know which toys are in on the thing yet, but they're on that deals hub list somewhere. Um so, and by the way, if you don't know, if you haven't checked out Deal Sub, don't forget Oink put the product checker, so it'll check to see on each page if products are selling, if they have a creator connection campaign, and everything like that associated with it. Let me see. I've already bought several toys this year. My granddaughter. I bought way more toys this year than I have in a long time, just because my daughter, and not even for the influencer program. Don't get me wrong, I make videos for them, but I'm definitely paying attention more these days to toys for that value proposition of it. Um, Oops, I just moved that. Okay, so Storm says if you could add a OIC product finder that when you search up a product similar to CC you added, where you search up a product, you see a list of products and sorted by how much sales. Don't hate me, Storm, but I still don't quite get it because I think you've got a certain picture of what that would look like, and I'm just struggling to get a picture of what that looks like also. But I'm intrigued. Um, if you feel motivated enough, if you want to send me an email at help@oinkforinfluencers.com, I'll put it in the chat right here. I want to make sure to give that proper attention. Just because I don't understand it, that's on me. So I apologize. I can't answer that in real time. But if it was something that you were legitimately interested in, I'm glad to kind of sort that out through that conversation there. Okay. And again, apologies up front. I'm not able to picture the thing that you're referencing there. Let me see. I'm just kind of going down here. Sorry, guys. Storm, so if you're saying products based on the sales and the number of influencer videos, I mean, Oink does do something like that on creator connections already. I don't know if you've tried that thing or if it's similar to kind of what it is you're looking for, but it does have that option to currently do that. But again, if you're not sure what that is either, just again, feel free to email me and glad to walk you through that process if you didn't know how to use that yet. If it's comparable to the thing that you're interested in and what you're trying to get. Um, Haley is, or Ash, one of the two, maybe both. I get what they're doing for the companies by selecting the best creators. It would be nice they somewhat selected the companies too. So many are not worthy to be there. Hey, oh, Dita, I got you. Hey, what's up? And by the way, I think that you messaged me earlier. I think I wrote you back. If not, I will. But I'm sorry. I think you might have messaged me just a little while ago, and I'm pretty sure I responded, but it's been one of those days. You're right. At some point, I think they're going to solve that, Odita. I think they have to. The brand spamming over and over again is not good for creator connections, the experience. I think that that's something that they'll eventually hammer out. and simplify the process. You talk about there are certain brands I don't want to mention. I think we all would probably guess pretty quickly who those are. They're obviously taking advantage of visibility and things like that. And frankly, that's not fair to the other brands that are just trying to post their campaign or a couple of campaigns. So I think that they will eventually end up taking care of that. Hey, diabetic. Hey, I appreciate that, and also always good to see you. I actually thought about you the other day. I feel like I don't get to see you as much. I appreciate that on the new feature. I'm trying to sort out a couple of issues with it, and this was a big update, so I expected a little bit of something. I do have people getting randomly throttled with it. I had one of my buddies that tried it earlier. I was like, "Hey, did you check it out yet?" And he's like, "No." And he goes, "I just got throttled. I asked for 17 products." And I said, "Did you have anything else open?" He said, "I don't have anything else." So, but me, I tested it for a week and a half and I never got throttled once. And then there are other people that are using it. I'm guessing that it's been good for you. So I am trying to track down a couple of the issues with that and figure out what I need to do with it. I appreciate that. This was a major move for Oink to make this jump over to the product research side. And to be honest, I set it up to only focus on creator connection stuff because again, I'm just kind of trying to watch what the trend is that Amazon seems to be interested in, and it seems to be they are hell bent on making creator connections maybe the thing down the road, right? And so that's why it's targeting this. I really appreciate that. I'm sure this is going to be version one of what's going to be multiple versions after bug fixes and updates and things like that. But I appreciate that feedback. Hey, happy Halloween indeed. We did Elvira this year. Hold on, I can get you a picture. And if you're queasy at all in your stomach area, you may want to turn your head, but I'll show you what we did. One of the things is, see, it's just an uncomfortable picture. So so uh see if I can get it to not be so blurry. If you want to guess which one is me, and yes, those are I am packing right there, as you can kind of see. It's blurry, obviously. This is my second set of prosthetics that I have bought from Amazon. We did Elvira a couple years ago, and I wanted to be a little bit more Elvira this year, so I went a little bit more. So it was always fun. We didn't dress up tonight. We actually went to supposedly one of the most haunted houses in America, a place called the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri, and they had a big Halloween party over there and it was a lot of fun. So Halloween is something we didn't get into too much until the kids were older, just because you spend so much time with the kids doing it and putting all your energy into them enjoying it. So we didn't start dressing up or anything until, frankly, the kids were older and we were also older too. So we were really enjoying the last probably 3 or 4 years now of Halloween and dressing up. I put ornaments out for the first time this year, so really kind of getting into it. Clover says, not many of the Amazon people do media/marketing stuff in real life. If and when you do, is a whole different perspective on how it all really works. I mean, on both sides of that aisle, what I mean? If you're talking about Amazon people on the Amazon side that work for Amazon, I agree. If you're talking about people on this side of the aisle, I also agree. I think that and some of it, I think you can pick up as you go along. You know what I mean? Like some of it you sort of like realize, after you've been kind of doing, if you're paying attention, that it's not being done kind of the right way. Um, but I agree. On both sides of the aisle, I think that's a little bit messy. Let's see. Amazing. Hey, what's going on? You are just VIP to us, bro. My brother and I have paid for a lot of courses in software over the years, but we can't be in it. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. If you've watched enough of my videos, you'll also know that I struggle with compliments. So thank you. And I'll say to you also what I appreciate that very much. I'm trying to be better at accepting compliments, but I want to remind everybody too that Oink can merely pour. If you're finding success because uh, it's not because you have Oink. Like Oink can only pour fuel on the fire, the spark that you have already created. Without you creating the content and continuing to grow, Oink can't do anything for you. So I do appreciate that sincerely. I just want to make sure that you guys don't miss out on giving yourself the congratulations if your needle is moving. In reality, you're the one that's moving the needle. I'm just giving a little bit of a puff with but I appreciate that, and I know you guys are killing it. Hold on a minute. You ate a bobcat once. Was it by choice or necessity? I don't know which one I'm hoping for there. Uh, oh wow. And I hope he was not alive. That would have been awkward. Ate a cat. Did he go to? probably the Philippines. Covered like Master General. I saw that you signed up, man. I appreciate that. Um, a nurse photographer that's in here, he had been participating in the Facebook groups quite a bit, and he asked a question online, I think at one point, and I was like, "Hey, man, you just want to hop on a call real quick?" And had a really good call with him, and I always appreciate having these sort of individual moments where I can talk to the people in the community because I do learn a lot. I mean, I do it under the guise of like, "Hey, is there anything I can help you with?" But I enjoy learning everybody's perspectives and kind of where they're coming from because I think it helps me build like a better overall extension through the eyes of different people that are actually using it. I know a lot of you on here I've had calls with, just kind of because honestly, because I'm sort of rude, I'll just do it out of the blue and I'll go, "Hey, you want to jump on a call real quick?" It's was as awful if you're on the receiving end of that because it's coming out of nowhere, but I always try to give it a shot if I can. Oh, fitness. I see that question. Any advice staying motivated or dealing with burnout when creating? I reviewed 400 plus videos, making 15. Oh, hey, good for you. A month, which I'm grateful for, but definitely not as motivated as I once started. Yeah, I mean, it's a couple of things, right? And this is, I mean, it's applicable to anything I think in life, which is, um, isn't that interesting that you get to a point sometimes where you're making money that you not wouldn't have even thought was possible when you were more motivated, and you get there and you lose a little bit of something of yourself because of what was required to kind of get you there. Um, to be honest, man, it's such a good question, and I want to be smart about how I answer this. My answer isn't the only answer, certainly, but I'll tell you what it is for me. Is I I come from a situation in a life that just was awful whenever I was young and kind of whatever, and from a situation that just didn't have a lot of opportunities granted to it, right? Like me and my brother both just not good. And I wasn't always when I was growing up, whenever as an adult, right? Once I kind of got past that as an adult, when good things would happen, sometimes they still didn't happen very much. I was not quite understanding how to be grateful for those things because I sort of felt like I didn't understand what it was like to have a good thing happen. And so whenever those good things would show up, I it was like it almost didn't resonate with me because I just felt like I was still so in the stuff that I had kind of come from. And one of the things for me as I've gotten older is something has just kind of shifted in like an appreciation of just like frankly one being alive and just kind of for some reason I can just see it differently now where I'm at now versus where I was at back then. Which is I understand it's not even a really a great answer, maybe not even applicable, but for me, it's about perspective, about what my life is like now, and sort of now I feel like I have a better vision of where my life is also going, right? And I just don't think I ever thought I was even going to be alive this long, and so now that I can see myself being older than I am now, it's almost like some part of me that stuff keeps me motivated. It's almost like even like getting in shape, right? It's the same sort of struggle for a lot of people. Like for a lot of people, it's sort of like it's really hard to do. Once you get there, you kind of get burnt out and then you lose a lot of what you do. But for sometimes when people get older, even with like health and fitness, they grasp onto that because the perspective and things have changed and they see how it adds to like their quality of life. So I don't know. I would say it's sometimes it's hard to do if you're not in the right place. Being grateful for something sometimes is easier if you're just in a certain moment of your life and not. I will say this on my first marriage, which is an awful way to start a sentence. My ex-wife's grandpa was really sick at one point, and they knew he was going to pass probably like in a year or something, right? And he was supposed to always be relaxing, but he was like an old school guy, like old school old guy, and he would still do stuff. And they would say to him, like, "You can't be doing this stuff. Why aren't you chilling out?" And his response was, "Because the stuff needs done anyways. It doesn't matter how I feel about it." And I think that after I heard that, that was always hard for me to shake. That there's a certain level that you're able to accomplish more things because you're motivated, and then there's a certain level that you're able to accomplish more things because the things just need done, and that's just the type of person I am. And so it's not a great answer. Everybody's is different. I will say that I very much, and I think a lot of people here will identify with that feeling of that motivation. But if you use motivation as the thing to get the stuff done, you're gonna end up robbing yourself from, potential in a lot of ways. So again, sorry if that's not a great answer. That's just where I'm coming from on it. Let me see here. Yeah, I was gonna say that too about the 400 vids. That's really good. That's really good for 400 vids. That's fantastic, actually. Um, how do you? Hobby review. How do you see the early access with the campaigns? Are you just sorting newest releases? Yeah, we talked about this just a little bit ago. Just as a quick recap, I think that I started to go down a conspiracy theory road with this. I think that this is an indicator by Amazon that they're trying to create legitimacy for the creator tier or the star program or the creator star level things. And they did this with deals have not long ago by only giving access to gold and platinum. They are expanding the early access thing for gold and platinum. And I would be surprised if we see silver and bronze pushed out even further. Brands want to work with the quote unquote best. And there's plenty of gold and platinum out there. It's not like they're hurting if we don't let the bronze and silver participate in these campaigns, right? So I think in the short term, I would expect that what we're seeing right now with the expanded early access time of a week or more now, I think that probably stays around. And I think if that goes well, I could see a situation where it expands even further and pushes silver and bronze out further. You'll still get access to the campaign. You'll just be a week, 2 weeks, a month behind at some point. And if you go down that pathway, I think anything's possible. I continue to sort by newest releases, um, you know, so I can see whatever's the newest on there. I never really use. I sometimes I use the commission potential. I forget what the other one's called. Sometimes I use that one, but that one doesn't change very much. So yeah, that's what we've realized over the last 24 hours has been pretty interesting to try to kind of. I'm going to make a bigger video about that whole thing too, probably in the next couple days. Let's see here. Matthew says, "Do you have a strategy for non-creator connection items?" I feel like everyone. Well, I mean, the strategy is to be honest, it's the same, right? You're still looking for the same metrics. You're still looking for products that move the needle. Going back to what we said earlier about Amazon's two rules: if you want to make commissions, work with products that are selling and work with products where your videos can be seen. That works on creator connections and non-creator connections as well. I think non-creator connections actually has a little bit of an advantage right now. I mean, it's got a disadvantage, obviously, because the commission rate's not the same, but everybody's all horny for creator connections. Very few people anymore are looking directly on Amazon. And Amazon still, I mean, the products that are on Amazon have to be good products anyways, or they're not going to convert on creator connections regardless, right? So strategy wise, stick to the basics, make sure it's selling and have a chance for your video to be seen. Otherwise, the products are sort of, you have to be more patient, certainly, with those products because there's not a creator connection campaign for them. But the way things are going, there might be next week. Amazon's trying to push everybody into creator connections. So if that's the case, you're in a really good position because now you found a product that nobody else seemed to care about because it wasn't on creator connections. And then it shows up on creator connections and day one, you're sitting there. Yeah, Matthew, they release it's like a toy or like a holiday one, but it's like usually just packed full of toys whenever it comes down to. I think it's like toy specific, but they end up kind of putting a few other little things in there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Storm. I appreciate that. Michelle, you got throttled with 3 windows open and not doing the mass message. If you weren't doing the mass message, then I don't think there's anything in Oink that could have done it. Um, Feel free to drop me a note on that one, though, if you would. Fitness pros and cons of video styles have been converting. Oh, pros and cons. Yeah, you're talking about if you make like here's the things I like and things I didn't like about it. Also comparing this that is good. Somebody I can't remember the conversation I had recently with somebody, and they were talking about that they saw conversion rates when they were talking about titles specifically. That titles that talked about this, especially the comparison one, was the one that stood out to me. Seemed to perform extremely high, like higher than even like the clickbaity type titles. And so I think that you're onto something there. And here's the other thing. With a comparison video, Comparison videos are really interesting because you have probably 2 products side by side, which means you made a video for this product and you already made a video for this product. But then you get to make a third video for both the products. I made a video about this maybe like a year and a half ago, talking about how when you do comparison videos, it's not just about, or whenever you're doing videos for products, if you have a product here, is there something else you can compare it to? I had bought 3 fans at the time. And when I bought those 3 fans, I did one, two, three, one for each. And then I did A versus B, and I did B versus C, and I did A versus C. I think I did 6 or 7 videos off of those 3 products because of all the different variations of being able to do a comparison side by side. So I think they convert really well, and I think comparison videos help you expand your reach, certainly, right? Because you can make more videos off of less products. I have New Edition. I don't know if you guys remember, if anybody else is old enough like me to remember New Edition. You guys remember New Edition? I got one specific New Edition song in my head, and I don't. I've been listening to it nonstop, and now I'm stopped listening to it. I'm listening to it in my head. But if it isn't love, if you guys happen to listen to it by New Edition, it's a classic. Um, yeah, the Halloween picture is actually, you know, it was funny, Storm, because we did Elvira 3 years ago, and when I put the thing on this year again, my wife goes, I forgot how much I did not want to see you in that costume again. I was like, well, I've got it on. That's a great time for me to hear this because I'm locked into doing this thing. I will tell you this. Both years that I have worn the Elvira costume, I have never gotten more attention at a party in my life. I get so many people squeezing on me. I get a bunch of people honking on me. Uh, I felt so powerful whenever I'm wearing the Elvira costume. Everybody loves me whenever I'm wearing it. I got one motorboat also. I will say that I did get one motorboat at this particular party. It's a phrase I didn't expect that I was going to say, but I make money every day for this or that. I did for the incentives years back. Well, I hope you got the original incentive money too. If not, it's the least they can do is be hooking you up now. Yeah, I mean, part of it's also pattern, right? I think that the more you can do the same thing sort of over and over again, you're talking about back to the grind and hard work. For me, I don't think about it hardly anymore. I just kind of have to sit down and I go through the motions sometimes, and it's what I do on any particular day. Like it becomes part of like the process. I think it's harder. It's easier to get burnt out. I think for a lot of times people also that have like a lot of other real life stuff going on. What I mean? Like if you have like a regular job and you're trying to squeeze this in the middle, and kids and all that kind of stuff, it's harder to commit emotionally and even physically to this part here. And as somebody that my youngest is now 18, I very much understand that sometimes you have to put the majority of your energy in those particular boxes. You just don't have enough left for everything else. So it's easier to get burnt out there because your tank is always lower by the time that you get to those other things. Yeah. Scheduling, committing to something. My first year in the program, I've said this on a couple of my videos. I bet there wasn't a day that I wasn't doing something. It wasn't scheduled, but I just knew when I was going to do it. Is whenever everybody else in my house would go to bed, and I did it every single day at some point. And it wasn't even because wasn't because I always wanted to. Certainly, it was just everybody's got a problem that they're trying to solve whenever you join this program. And for different people, it's different problems. For some people, frankly, it's because life's awful and they're trying to make it just a little bit better, more manageable. For some people, it's because life's already okay and they're just trying to make it better. Like we're all trying to solve a problem with this program. And I know firsthand that as motivating as that problem is to solve, sometimes it can get lost under the weight of actually doing it, right? Of doing the thing that can help us solve that problem. Um, I've got pictures sitting here of, you know, I talked about my granddaughter earlier. I take stuff here and I have it sitting in front of me that helps to keep me. I just realized I'm doing classic grandpa stuff here because I got pictures of you know, this is my excuse. I set up this entire call so I could just show pictures of me and my granddaughter together. I understand the motivation thing. You just have to keep, and your motivation can change over time and over day to day can be different. Sometimes you just gotta piece some things together and do what you can. And Michelle, I see you leaving. Take care. I'll follow up with you about that throttling thing. Okay. What are some high numbers you've heard of what people are making in CC each month? Well, here's what I will tell you. Uh, I have had way more conversations with people that are in the 5 digits now in creator connections than I ever have. I mean, part of that's certainly from Prime Day. Prime Day numbers were nuts. I mean, I say nuts comparatively to what we have expected before. There was way more chatter after this year that I remember of people going like, my numbers are pretty significantly higher. Seems like I saw a lot of like 20 to maybe like 25% increase during those couple of days, myself included. Like it went really well. That actually made me extremely excited about the holiday shopping season. If that's any sort of indication of what we're going to see, this is the first year that Creator Connections, I think, is at full speed, or we've understood it and its potential. This is the first holiday season that this has really happened. We didn't have, frankly, Creator Connections cross checks last holiday season. That right there is gonna. I mean, I'm doing more numbers now than I ever have, and I'm making less content now because like, but the Creator Connection thing is so powerful. I mean, I got a bunch of stuff that I'm going to get done before the holiday season kicks in, but number wise, here's what I think is interesting is earlier in the year, I remember talking to people about at some point, people are going to make more on creator connections than they are in the AIP. And I thought it would have been next year at some point. And then like all of a sudden that happened. It started happening a couple months ago. That happened so stinking quick. So I am seeing, I don't want to give any sort of specifics, but I say quite a few people that I know that I've had conversations with that are over 5 digits just on that alone. Um, and we haven't even hit the holiday season yet. I did have Fun Storm. They had 3 bands going at the same time. So it was in this haunted place, and it was just all really cool. Like, and one of the cool things about going to Halloween parties, especially when like the median age is like 30 to like 45 or 50, is that people get really into the costume stuff. You know, as younger, people would kind of throw the costumes together. And it was just like, even like my 20s was like, what do I can't afford one. What am I going to piece together? But when you get a little bit older and maybe you got a little bit of heavier pockets, you go, you know what? I'm gonna probably spend more than I should for Halloween. And so there were some people, there was one group that came in that was all Beetlejuice, not the person, but it was like from the movie. So you had one Beetlejuice guy, you had Lydia in like the red wedding dress, you had the tall, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Beetlejuice, you had the tall guy in the suit and his head was shrunk down. Like that guy walked in and he was dancing in the middle, and they had a couple others. Like it was really cool to watch people taking it like really serious. It was a lot of fun. Hold on a minute. I see a 10K number there. Hit 10K for October, which is my second best month since starting 3 years ago. I was hoping to hit 10K in November, but was surprised this month. Let's go. You know what's interesting too? There is that's a common thing that I've heard from OGs that have been around for several years that were in maybe what we call the good old days type of thing, where it was less saturated and you could make less videos, make really good money. I've heard these conversations from several people that like the rate at earning right now, because we understand the programs much better, that people are seeing numbers that they saw back then and seeing numbers they have not seen in a while. So I love that for you. That's fantastic, man. That's great. Ooh, Cherish, that's an interesting question there. Well, I mean, here's the thing, nighttime here, right? And granted, my room is a little bit darker because I didn't get too crazy with it just to do this particular call. But even this setup, I got a light here and a light here. These are both Logitech lights. And then I got one behind me that helps light up the rest of the room. It's like one of those, I'm not even sure what those things are called here. It's, one of those things called big lights. That's the best I got. And so, you can't rely on room lighting. And to be honest, even during the daytime, I still use this exact same setup. I think that if you are finding yourself able to create more content, but being limited by the lighting in the house or your room because it's dark outside and the overhead light sucks, it might be worth just thinking about looking into maybe and it doesn't even have to be like this, but just something, because I would hate for you to be losing on video creation time when it could be a $50 solution for you. For that. So I do like shooting stuff in natural light. I do like that a lot if I go outside or if I'm in another room or whatever. But to your point, I got to be in a situation where I can shoot all the time. I'll probably make a couple of videos tonight after it's 12:30. Probably not. But sometimes I'll do it till 1 or 2 in the morning, all kind of just sitting right here. And just a couple of basic lights like this can really kind of help you out with that. And they still look good, right? I mean, theoretically, I don't know. Um, Also, Storm said, also, I don't know if you do, but voice dub my videos in different languages and post the other storefronts like it. Oh, nice. That's interesting. I don't do that. I just because I don't do a lot of cross storefront stuff. But I have heard of other people doing that as well. So that's pretty cool. Pretty nice. Family man, I am, but you know what? It took me some work to get here. The kids that I've got, they're 3 step kids. I never had any of my own, and I've raised them. They were 7, 3, and 1 whenever me and my wife got married, and now they're 25, 21 and 18. And, a grandpa, and I didn't even think I was gonna be alive, and here I am. And honestly, for me, step kid stuff was always really hard because you're always in this weird middle ground of, like, you're not the real parent, but you're still on the hook if they do some dumb stuff. You're, like, trying to figure out how to, and you're also very much aware that, like, you're not the most important person in the house, that my wife has to love the kids before she can love me, and I have to be okay with whatever's left over. That wasn't always easy. Once the kids got older, though, and then the grandkid came, to be honest, I wasn't excited at all because I was ready to move on with me and my wife's life and do the empty nest thing and go party and go do all the stuff we wanted to do. But and I didn't care about the grandkid until I held her the first time, and she got me. So changed everything. Um, oh, you did 6K and just on CC alone. Oh, so if you're talking 10K total, you outpaced AIP too. Then that's awesome, man. Matthew says, do you track if you have items that you don't own that make more than one sale a month? Yes. I'll tell you in a second. Also, is there a way to paste ASIN? Also, is there a way to paste ASIN fetch somehow? I think I know what you're saying, but can you clarify? To your question about do you track if you have items that you don't own that make more money than one sale a month? So there is a feature in the extension. It was one of the very first ones that I implemented called Content Gap, and I think this does what you're looking for. It You have to upload your sales report into it. You download it as a CSV right from your Amazon backend, and then you upload it there. And what it does is it's going to cross reference and find any product that you have sold connected to your account that you have like more than 2 sales for, I think it is. I don't do 1 because if it was 1, there'd be a lot of stuff on this list that wouldn't be, but like anything over 2 that isn't also in your storefront these are things you don't have tagged on your storefront. The idea of, like you're saying there, is if you're somehow already leading to sales on these things without even having any real direct content for it, that might be an opportunity for you, right? And so Content Gap, I think, does what the thing is that you're looking for. But let me know kind of where that's at. Um, I'm at 3.4 on CC, which is making me wonder where this could go. Don't have a strategy yet. Excuse me, but just pay attention. What's working for you there? Well, and I tell you, I don't want to get in, and I've been trading's way here. I'll give you, my 2 cents on the thing that I'm at. And again, so right now I'm at my highest numbers I've ever been in Creator Connections also. Um, and there's a couple things, right? One is I would say that the majority of products that I'm participating with now, I view through the lens on if they have a campaign for them. And I don't think that's always going to be the case. It just has been lately because of the scalability of Creator Connections. So say, for example, a brand reaches out to me and says, "Hey, do you want to do a video for this?" I check to see if it's selling, and then I check to see if it has a Creator Connection campaign for it. And to be honest, if it doesn't have a Creator Connection campaign for it, unless it's selling really well, I don't know if I'm going to say yes to it right now because there's too many things on Creator Connections that do have opportunity. Um, I don't pay attention to much except for I'm consistent with my scans every day, right? So I run 2 different scans every single day with Oink. One is around noon. I run the daily sales check, and then at some point during the day, I run my storefront check. And then again, right before I go to bed, I do the same daily sales fetch one again. That's where a lot of the commission jumps, at least through using Oink, comes from for people, because that's just making sure that, like, if there's a campaign for it, you're not losing any time. You're going to get that campaign pretty much as soon as you need that campaign. Um, I also there's a feature in Oink that whenever you're uploading a video, it will check literally while you're uploading if there's a campaign. Once you tag it, if there's a campaign for that video you're about to upload. And what that does, that way, if there is, as soon as you hit the upload button, you've got that campaign accepted. You don't miss any days from any of your new uploads anymore. So having good creator connection campaign coverage is a good thing. And the rules on creator connections are the same as they are on Amazon, which is, and again, go back to the idea of what Amazon says moves the needle. Two things: your products need to be selling, and they have to have a chance for your videos to be. We're going to be in a really good position to convert. There is a little bit of flexibility there with the videos being seen part on creator connections, because the commission rates are so high. Your video still has to be seen. It just doesn't have to be seen as much as it would have without the campaign. If you're talking about a 20% commission rate, you can lose a little bit of visibility there and still make really good money. I don't want to lose any visibility, so I still target products with under 5 influencer videos on them. My rule of thumb and just for people that are on this, I don't say this very often. I've said it on like one other video, but if you wanted to know what my rules for what I say yes to on creator connections, so if I'm looking for collaboration opportunities for samples to be sent to me, my rule of thumb there is, if it's selling at any number, I will ask for it without even looking at the video visibility. The reason for that is they solved the primary problem that I need to solve with every product, which is it selling, right? If it's not selling, nothing is possible. Doesn't matter what the video saturation is, whatever. So if they can solve the primary problem on a product, uh, I will request it as a collaboration sample. If we start getting up into a situation where it's selling and the video saturation is really good, meaning there's like less than like 3 influencer videos on it, preferably like none, but it still has an upper carousel, right? It has to have an upper carousel. That's still all my target stuff. In those cases, I'll still look at investing in those particular products. I'm much tighter on the criteria when it comes to investing because of the risk. Um, but my kind of thought there is, it's hard to get products, and it's going to be harder to get products as more and more people come into the program. Granted, some of these creator connection changes could make that actually easier for gold and platinum people. Um, but it's still difficult, right? The brands might not even see your video. They might not care that you exist, etc., or your message. And so that's kind of my rule of thumb whenever it comes to creator connections is, as long as it's selling, as long as it's got a heartbeat, I'm willing to take that risk and say yes to a product. And if nothing else, if you can get it from a brand, even if you don't make much off of it, it still expands your storefront, still expands your footprint that looks good to other brands. There's still value to that. Starla, thank you for sharing about your life. I'm gonna email. Oh, perfect. I appreciate it. Hey, yeah, it's 1:30. Totally get it. Thank you for joining, Storm. Appreciate you. Cherish says, "This is my first Christmas making videos. What can I anticipate for commissions? Double? Well, I'm approaching 700 videos. Nice, and stuck at the 800. Hey, first off, you say stuck at 1,800. I say congratulations on 1,800 for 700 videos. There are some other people that are getting up to that 700 that are not making that. So first off, congratulations on that. You're doing something right along the way. Anticipation for Christmas. I mean, it's always a big bump. I think this one's just not predictable because of what Creator Connections has turned into. It wasn't this last year. It existed, but it didn't have nearly the number of campaigns in it. Amazon was not pushing it on their side like they have now. So what's happening right now, Cherish, is that those of us that have been in the program for a couple of years, we're seeing numbers right now, at least up to this point, that we have not seen in quite a while. And a lot of it is because of what Creator Connections has evolved into. So I don't feel comfortable making a prediction because, frankly, where we're at right now, I did not expect to be at and couldn't have predicted a couple of months ago. My only prediction is that if the Prime Days that we just had was any sort of indicator of what's getting ready to happen, I think that we're going to see numbers passing through Creator Connections that are going to be shocking, is my guess. I don't know if I've heard of any individual creator making over 20 on Creator Connections alone, but I would suspect that my gut says I'm going to have a couple of conversations with people that are going to pull 20 in on a per month basis over the course of the holidays because of what Creator Connections is. That's my only prediction I've got. And now what's going to happen is Amazon's going to change something. And my prediction is going to go down the tubes. They're going to pull all the carousels. I shouldn't say it. Knock on wood. So I don't know, but I will say this: I'm very very enthusiastic about what's getting ready to happen over the next couple months if that continues to pan out, and I have no reason to think that it's not going to. Having said that, whatever's going on with Creator Connections right now and these changes that we're seeing could have an impact, a negative impact for bronze and silver creators because you don't have as quick of access to campaigns as the gold and platinum people do, seemingly now, right? And so when you're doing your creator cross checks every day to see what new campaigns are available for you, if you're not getting the campaigns until a couple of weeks after everybody else gets them, you'll still be able to accept those campaigns, but you just lost basically 2 weeks that you normally would have had with that campaign. So I do think there's gonna be a little bit of a negative impact there. I think the sales are gonna be they're going to be where we need them to be. The world's kind of weird right now. The world's very weird right now, and there's some economic stuff that could certainly have a major impact on that. But if I just exclude that, because that's all obviously very unpredictable, there's some really interesting stuff going on in the program. So, I'm, my prediction is I'm excited, and maybe those other things that I said too. Let me see here. Oh, you said no, doing over 10 KCC alone, even before Q4. I will say my best products selling are things I've bought. I don't really request products much anymore, and I think that that's a fair thing. I just realized my pork rinds are sitting back there in a bag. I'm like, that's awful. That looks like I am a slob, but I'd rather not have my empty pork rind bag. By the way, if you ever do the carnivore diet, I'm not on it right now, but I started eating pork rinds because it's like a good thing for the carnivore diet because it is pure animal skin, which is, you know, it counts. So I got hooked on them, and it's crunchy. Everything else in the carnivore diet was soft. It's all a bunch of beef and meat, and just I'm eating nonstop soft stuff. It was a nice change of pace. Segue that probably didn't need to happen right there. Typically, this is my third Christmas season. I'd say November is the highest month of the year. December up until like the 20th is really great, and then kind of falls off. It is still probably the third or fourth best month of the year. Yep, says I've been traded. Thanks, boys. My bro and I trying to develop a framework for buying with CC folks. Haven't pulled the trigger yet. Looking for it. Well, I have been trading. Should chime in here too. Here's the thing with investing is I did it. If you get a chance, I did a video last week with this guy Chris. I'm a big fan of Chris. He calls himself the average guy, and I think that it really I think that it resonates because I came across him because he had been posting on TikTok every single day how much money he had made the day before, and he was trying to get up to making $100,000 a year, and he was not even anywhere close. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He just wasn't. And me and him did a call in like June, I think, of this year, and I explained to him the power of if you can of like what investing can do for you. And the call that he just did the other day, the interview with me, he's like he cannot ever hardly go back to not investing before because of what he learned from it. In the end of the day, investing, it is the riskiest, obviously, right? And I don't ever recommend it. I never recommend people take money off the table that they're feeding their kids with or whatever. It's only for money that you can burn, basically, at that point, which is not easy to come by. But investing gives you the most power over the types of products that you're going to participate with, right? If you're looking on Amazon and you see a product that's got metrics that you love, all you got to do to get that product is give Amazon what the number is on the page. You got $50, it costs $50, it'll be here tomorrow. There's no other gateway that you have to get through, right? And so high risk, but also high reward because you have total control over the situation of that product at that point. When you're asking for collaboration samples, the downside there, or the upside is it doesn't cost you anything, no cash leased up front, right? So risk is much more much easier to swallow. The downside there is you have no control over it. Like you can look for products and request them, but it all ends up coming down on the shoulders of the brand on the other side. Do they read your message? Do they care about you as a human? Do they want to see you happy? or do they hate your guts and want to ignore you? And only if they say yes, then it takes however long it takes for them to say yes, then they got to ship it to you, and you lose a bunch of time there. So, my main methodology up until the last couple of months was purchasing and investing. That's really what took me from sort of like the level I was on to like up to when I got over like 5 digits at that point per month, and everyone under it was during the investment phase. And then over the last few months, because of the brand messaging and honestly, because of Oink and other people wanted the messaging thing, I got into the messaging part and have been hitting that hard. I've been chasing. I will say I don't buy things all the time, but when I see opportunities on products, yeah, I'll buy them. When I'm looking for a sample on CC, and I decided to just buy it in October, and it's made $500 already. So, wish I would have bought it when I first thought, but take those. That's absolutely right. And I'll tell you, I've been trading. I do it in two different ways, right? One is sometimes I will sit down and I'll think to myself, I'm gonna do $1,000, right? And that's basically what I've allotted, and I assume that I'm gonna spend up to that, and if I don't, that's fine, but that's kind of my goal. I think one time I did, like, 2 grand. I will say this, that it does seem that a lot of the or a decent amount of the people that have been around the program for a while do some sort of investment, right? Some of them don't, but I would say a lot of them definitely do, and, this goes back to what we were saying earlier too, right? There's multiple different ways to win in this program. And if you're not winning with the method you're currently doing, it's one of the cool things about it is you can basically change your direction, just make a quick pivot and try something else and see if that works. One of the funniest stories that I've got, I'm gonna hop off here and probably I'll do 15 more minutes up till 1 in the morning for me. One of the funniest stories here is one year I was buying a bunch of supplements. I like doing supplements. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I accidentally bought PMS medicine or like PMS relief tablets. I didn't know it until I got them here. And so I'm going through my box of there's like 50 bottles of vitamins and different things I'm going through, and I'm lining them up so I can start preparing for my video content. And I get to that one and I went, oh no. Um, because I paid 25 bucks for it. So I had one of two options here was either I had to just eat $25 and put over to the side, or I had to put myself into a position where I could make a video of some sort of value. And I did it. And and even at the beginning of my video, I never looked back to see if it converted anything for me because I think I was just for myself too embarrassed that I did it. But even on my video, it was all hands, right? So it wasn't me. That would be even worse. I did a video and I said, first off, I know these aren't for me. That this is not the voice that you expected, but you're still trying to figure. And I actually, because before I shot it, I thought people might actually watch it if they hear a guy's voice pop up at the beginning and go like, "Look, I know I shouldn't be here, but I'm already here." And I went over the things and I said, just in case you're wondering, recommended amount for these says 2 per day. These are veggie capsules. They are coated, so they're going to be easier to swallow. They don't have any smell. The reviews online say that there's no taste on these. And, I just like very, very basic sort of like overview. I felt very apologetic the whole time I was doing the whole thing. And look, sometimes on the investment stuff, sometimes things work out. You just want them to work out more than they don't. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And whenever I invest also, I I bought something for this past Prime Day for like 199, and it worked out during Prime days. I targeted it, and I think that I probably 4x the return on that. But there was a couple of things I bought during Prime days that didn't. I didn't make my money back on it. But overall, as a whole, I did. And so that's really all you're kind of hoping for. And that's why sometimes too, whenever people invest in small numbers, they start out small, which is a good idea, but it's also something that can lead you the wrong direction whenever it comes to interpreting the results from that. Because in my example of Prime days, if I had just bought those couple of things that didn't make me my money back, I would think this doesn't work. You know what I mean? But it was those other couple of products that did pop that helped me come out in the green. And so that's one of the things you have to keep in mind. I think starting small is actually a good idea to even just emotionally start to go through that process of letting go of that money and taking that gamble. But you also have to do it sort of with the mindset of there's a good chance that these aren't going to pan out, but that doesn't mean that this process doesn't work. Um, yeah. You'd said, yeah, it was cool hearing Chris's story, but oh yeah, president. It was. You know what? I was super happy about that. Chris is such a neat guy. I really did. I felt like I was watching. I came across him on TikTok, and it'd be a 10-second video, and he'd say, "Hey, yesterday on my three monetized YouTube channels and Amazon influencer program, whatever I made, said I'm trying to make $100,000 a year. If I can do it, you can do it too." End of his video. Next day, I'd see another one pop up. Hey, yesterday on my YouTube three monetized channel, and he goes through this process. And I'm like, nobody's watching this poor guy's videos. One, he might get a like every once in a while. I was like, I got to start following him. One, because he's part of the Amazon influencer program. So I just started leaving him a message every once in a while, like, hey man, like good job or whatever the case was. And just, it was neat. Just over time, I started to see his number slowly start to go up. And we did our call in June. And I was like, here's where I think you're at, man. One of the problems he had was, and he says this on the video, was he had been in the program for multiple years and he just wasn't, the upload velocity just wasn't there. And so what was happening for him is he was being victimized by the influx of people coming into the program. And we talked about that earlier here, was so his previous videos he had made were slowly draining because the carousels were filling up and he wasn't uploading enough at the same time to make sure to not just balance that, but then to scale it. And so he says that on that interview. Like one of the big things for him was realizing he just wasn't doing enough videos. So he's now dedicated time to doing that. Once he started to do those things and get the products that move the needle, he's like, all of a sudden, his target was like $276 a day to make $100,000 a year. And then all of a sudden one day I see him post a video. He's like, hey, I made $311, which was unheard of before. So really proud of him, man. It just really neat to kind of see that almost transpire over the course of the year. I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm gonna hop off here. I really appreciate you guys. To be honest, I didn't even know if anybody was gonna pop on because I was just sitting here doing a little bit of work, and I thought if people had questions, that I'd come in and do what I could. And again, trying to constantly provide value for you guys and give back and um, be a resource for you. So thank you all so much, as always, for joining. I got another update coming in the extension, probably going to drop it on Monday, that I'm really excited about, because I'll just give you an idea of what this is going to be. One of the questions that I get from a lot of people is, am I doing the right thing? And it's hard to know if you're doing the right thing unless you take the things that you know that are supposed to matter and figure out how are you comparing to those things that are supposed to matter. And if you don't know how you're comparing to what's expected, it's hard to know if you're ever on the right track. So my next feature is designed to let you know, with the most important parts of the program, where you currently stand, so that you can know, are you meeting expectations or are you falling behind, to give you an idea of like, okay, I need to do better on this particular thing. So I'm really excited for this. Um, Cool. Hey, Cherish, appreciate you. Hey, reviews. I didn't even realize you were here. Have you? Did you say something? I missed it, or have you been lurking? I didn't realize you had popped in here. Hobby review. Appreciate you joining. Thank you very much. Um, I'm gonna wait to see if reviews says anything, because now I'm being creeping. All right. Well, I hope you didn't notice I guess you probably caught the whole conversation about the pork rinds. You're welcome for the tip, and also sorry for seeing me live like a slob right now. All right, everybody. Hey, as always, I appreciate you guys and appreciate the support. We'll see you. I'll probably make a video tomorrow. Peace out.